Hi friends, welcome to Kami-sama Constellations. For today's constellation I'm going to be using this Celtic Wheel of the Year board that I've created for you, and I'm going to be asking you to pick a problem in your life that you want some insight into, to divide it into 4 separate elements, which I'll explain in a minute, and then we'll do a reading on those 4 elements to get you some insight and understanding into how to move forward with your issue. So you're going to need a notebook and pen for this part of the exercise, and we're going to be using these 4 different objects to help you get insight into your issue. What I'm going to ask you to do is to pause the video for as long as you need to basically work out how you can divide this problem you have in your life into 4 separate elements. So that might be, for example, that one element is yourself, you as a person. Another element might be something like another person who you're having an issue with, or something going on at work, or could be anything really. And then the other 2 elements being important parts of that problem. So an example for that, for more clarity, is that in my own life right now I'm trying to decide where I need to live in the near future. Currently live in this van that I'm filming in, and I'm also wondering whether I should be living in Wales, in Scotland, or maybe even continental Europe. So an example of this, if I was doing it for myself, would be that I would choose one of these objects to represent me, for example number 4. So I'd write down 4 equals me, James. I might choose 3 to represent Scotland. I might choose 2 to represent Wales, and I might choose 1 to represent continental Europe. The order doesn't really matter at all. The most important thing is that you have the numbers 1 to 4 written down on your piece of paper and 4 different elements to the problem for each number. Oh, sorry, 1 for each number, should I say. So if you haven't done so already, pause the video, write down the numbers 1 to 4, identify the 4 elements of your problem, and you can include yourself in that as one element, or not, depending how it feels. There's no real wrong way to do this. Let's just give it a try. Most important thing is to have 4 different elements written down on your paper before we start the process. So here goes. May this reading bring you clarity, joy, abundance, and love into your life, and of course much more clarity. Okay, so let's start with whatever element you've identified with the number 1. As you can see in the shot, it is this black stone with the arrow facing towards this, what looks like a black wall at the side of the box. Just doing a read of how it feels right now, and like my immediate reaction is just that I feel extremely claustrophobic. I'm feeling really stuck between this black wall and whatever this element number 4 is. You'll have to look at that yourself in your notes, but this wooden element number 4 is right up against my back. I feel squashed in. I feel like I want to push whatever number 4 is away from me. It's feeling really intense. I'm also aware that I'm on the outside of the circle, and I am in the realm of summer within the Celtic Wheel of the Year, but I'm on the outside of the circle, and that for me feels well, I'm gonna have to tune in. How does that feel? So I just had to pause the video there. Wasn't quite sure what was going on for me, but I guess what's coming up for me is that the realm of summer in the Celtic Wheel of the Year is, time of abundance, time of most sunlight, time of growth, and yet I'm outside of the Wheel of the Year, which makes me feel like I should be feeling all of those things. I should be feeling abundance, growth, happiness, joy, light, and yet actually I'm just feeling hemmed in by whatever element 4 is and the wall of this box. It all feels a bit much. I've got a kind of icky feeling in my tummy. So before we go any further, just a note on this form of constellation oracle reading. Like, take it all with a pinch of salt. Just see what sticks, see what resonates with you, and disregard whatever doesn't. This is not the truth, it's just a reading, and I hope you get some insight from it. Let's move on to element 2 on your notepad. Okay, so element 2 is here in the foreground of the shot. You can see it's the grey stone. Take a look, refresh your memory of what you identified element 2 as and the problem in your life. I have to say that as soon as I tuned into this stone, I couldn't help but realise that I was very close to Samhain, which is the Celtic New Year time of the ancestors and death, around the time of Halloween, more commonly known as Halloween. And the arrow on the stone is facing back towards the summer, and it's kind of pointing in the direction of elements 4 and 1 that you can see in the background of the shot. As I was tuning into this, I just couldn't help but feel like, oh man, if I was really in my element, I would actually be facing kind of to the left, in the direction of the winter solstice, because that's the direction that things should be turning on the wheel of the year. But instead I'm facing kind of backwards in time. So I'm sitting in the Halloween zone, in the darkness, in the area of like reflecting on the dead and the ancestors in the past. I'm not facing towards the winter, which is the natural progression of Samhain. Instead I'm looking back, almost like a wistful feeling, or just an uncomfortable feeling, almost like nostalgia or some kind of depressive feeling, looking back at the summertime where elements 4 and 1 are hanging out. It's like I'm reflective, I'm looking at the past, I'm almost a bit fixated on the past. I'd prefer to be like looking in that direction, but for some reason I'm looking at these guys over here and it feels uncomfortable. Okay, now tuning into element 3, whatever that is that you wrote down on your paper, here in the foreground of the shot. Kind of like a sharp pain in my chest as I tune into this object, this element. Also aware that I'm looking backwards on the wheel of the year, this time looking towards element 2, and in fact all 3 elements that appear in this shot, apart from the one in the foreground, I'm kind of looking backwards. I'm in the zone of Imbolc, which is the very, very early spring, end of winter on the wheel of the year, a time when seeds are under the ground, like not yet germinated, just starting to feel the first kind of lengthening days of the springtime, not quite in growth, well, definitely not in growth apart from the snowdrops in this country where I'm filming. And I feel stuck. I feel cold. I feel like I'm facing the wrong way. In fact, everything about this reading feels like it's kind of discombobulated and not going in the, in inverted commas, right direction. In the sense that the wheel of the year has a direction which is clockwise, and nothing's really going in the right direction. Something feels wrong, something feels off. It feels like I'm grinding my gears. Alright, final element, number 4 that you've written down. It's this piece of wood that you can see next to element 1, the black stone. Oh, I got a kind of sense of relief as soon as I tuned into this one. In fact, this is the first element, first and only element in this constellation where the first reading feels like it kind of feels okay. I feel big, I feel kind of strong, I feel like I'm facing the right direction. I've just kind of passed through the summer solstice, going into the autumn time. I feel like I'm going the right way. I do also feel like I'm dominating element 1. And that feels kind of weirdly comfortable to me. I'm conscious that like I don't want to be, I guess my mind as a reader is saying I don't want to be dominating something else, but like how I actually feel in this element, number 4, is that I'm quite comfortable keeping element 1 in its place. And that feels, I guess, icky, but I am actually, when I'm really embodying element 4, I feel pretty good, pretty strong, pretty powerful, and like I'm going in the right direction. I almost feel a bit like haughty and condescending to the other elements, like I've got it right and they've got it wrong. Yeah, like how maybe I'm somehow superior to them. Interesting. Alright, so this is the end of the first part of the reading, and obviously that's probably quite a lot of information for you to take in, so I encourage you, if it was all a bit much, just to rewind the video and listen to that first reading again and just see what resonated with you and what didn't resonate with you with regards to each of those 4 elements. The next stage of this reading is where I make an intuitive move of one or more of the elements to try and create more balance in the system. So again, take it with a pinch of salt and see if it helps you to understand a bit better where there might be some change needed in your issue. So intuitively, as I'm looking at this board, although I was feeling icky with these 2 elements, number 3 and number 2, I'm aware that their attention is focused towards these 2 elements, and I'm really wanting to change something here. There's something seriously imbalanced going on here for me. Element 1 feeling claustrophobic, hemmed in by number 4, and number 4 feeling really strong and dominating, condescending, a bit superior, and it just feels off to me. There's something not quite right. So I'm going to get these elements to adjust themselves in some way, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so here goes. Element 1, I'm going to remove from this point. I'm going to keep element 1 in the same area. That feels like the natural thing to do, but I'm going to put number 4 here, number 1 here, facing in the same direction, in the direction that they should be going in the Wheel of the Year. And then we're going to do a read and see how all the elements feel with one another. Alright, starting with element 1 here, the black stone in the foreground in this new position. God damn, I've got to say, I feel a hell of a lot better. I felt so claustrophobic before, it was awful. I feel like really solid. I feel really solid in myself in this new position. I'm aware that actually, let me just check something here. Yes, just had to check. I'm at the position of Lammas, which is kind of like the end of summer, beginning of autumn harvest, like time of year of like amazing abundance. Literally in the Celtic New Year, that time of just really harvesting loads of stuff, all the hard work of the spring and summer like coming to fruition. I feel really powerful, but unlike element 4 before, I don't feel powerful in the way that I'm like dominating anyone else. I just feel powerful in myself. I'm aware of the fact that I'm made out of stone, and element 4 that I felt dominated before by is actually made out of wood. And I can't help but feel that I'm a lot stronger than element 4. Like, I actually have an inner strength and a compactness that makes me really resilient. Oh my god, I actually just feel relieved in my body tapping into this element 1, whatever it is that you chose your element 1 to be. I feel like I could actually break element 4, but I don't want to. You know, being made out of stone and it being made out of a kind of brittle wood of a yew tree. This feels like a really good position to be in. I also am aware that I'm like on the right hand side of element 4, so it's like I'm on the fast lane, at least in this country where I'm filming, in the United Kingdom. When you're on a motorway, you drive on the right hand side of the road to overtake, and I feel like I'm kind of overtaking element 4, but I'm also neck and neck with it. It's like I'm kind of just contemplating what the hell to do with my new energy. I feel like completely free. It's amazing. Alright, now tuning into element 2 in the foreground here, still in the same position around Samhain, time of the ancestors in the autumn, around Halloween. I'm looking in the same position, still looking at element 1 and 4, but how am I feeling? Gotta tune in. Oh my god, sorry, I just had to pause the video there because I hadn't fully tuned in, but laughter's coming up for me. I feel like I'm a parent. And what I mean by that is I'm looking back at elements 1 and 4 as I was before, but I'm feeling like how I imagine a parent would feel when two siblings have been like one sibling's been bullying the other sibling, and they finally like stop fighting, and they're like just they're just not fighting anymore, and I feel relieved. I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I can actually turn away from them now, and that would probably be my desire to do that, which I might do if time allows. But the main thing is a feeling of relief. Like I'm no longer feeling anxious and icky about these two elements in front of me that have really been at odds with one another. Okay, tuning into element 3. Same position as last time. Yeah, very similar to element 2 actually. I'm feeling much more calm. It's like I'm surveying the scene, thinking, what's going on behind me is no longer an issue. I can relax. I can get back into the earth where I should be at the time of Imbolc, a little seed in the earth, ready to germinate, and I can get on with living my own life and just body will relax. Alright, tuning into the final element, element 4, this piece of wood on the left hand side of the shot. Oh my god, I feel humbled. I feel honestly humbled. I'm aware of element 1 to the right of me. Similarly to what element 1 said earlier, like I'm feeling aware that I'm wood and element 1 is stone, and I am not as strong as I thought I was. I just feel like I've been a bit humbled. I'm still facing the same direction, but I'm no longer squashing element 1 up against the wall of this box. I just feel like I've been taken down a notch in probably the best way ever. Like I'm feeling like I'm my actual size and feeling much more equal to the other elements in this constellation. Yeah, really, really humbled. I don't. That's all I can say, really. A little bit, just like less confident, but kind of in a healthy way, like a kind of like almost as if you had a kind of this element had a kind of slightly self-obsessed superior coping mechanism to get itself through life, and it's now just been reduced to its actual size, which is, not insignificant. It's still a big piece of wood, but just a bit more down to earth. Thank God for that. Alright, so that's about it, I think. Without knowing what elements you chose and the details of your issue, I can't really take this constellation any further. If we were to be working in person, I would be able to, but that is the limits of it today. I hope that what we've done so far has been useful to you and insightful. I'd love to hear your feedback, what the hell you thought of this process. It's a completely new process that I've designed based on a kind of mix of family constellation therapy and oracle readings, and it may be way off, I'm not sure. I'd be really curious to know how you experienced it, any insights that came from it, and also if you'd be keen to explore further on getting insight into this issue that we've been exploring together. I'd be more than happy to chat with you. I really, really hope that you've gained something from this constellation, and I hope you have much more harmony, joy, and peace in your life going forward from whatever was going on in your life up to this point. Alright, take care. Bye.